Hello there, and thank you so much for joining us on Aso Morning this beautiful Tuesday. Today we'll be discussing Africa, economies, investment, and how we can improve all of that. Africa today stands at a defining moment. The continent's economies are beginning to show resilience, with intra-African trade hitting about $192.2 billion in 2023. That's according to Afrexim Bank's statistics. Foreign direct investments, after of course the volatile years that we face, are also regaining momentum. Yet Africa still holds some of the largest untapped markets in energy, digital infrastructure, and manufacturing. The infrastructure and manufacturing poses a new challenge that could turn potentials into real prosperity. So how can we attract quality investment, strengthen governance, and position Africa as the next global frontier? Well, that is the conversation we'll be exploring with Chief Charles Ndudim, a seasoned investor and economic strategist. He's in the entertainment industry and so much more. He will be discussing the practical steps that is needed to improve business and investment across the internet, or across the continent. Why is the internet coming to my mind? Welcome to the studios, Chief Charles Ndudim.
I can't complain. I'm wonderful.
Thank you.
So how would you describe Africa's investment climate as we speak today? You've done business all over the continent, and in Nigeria especially. What would you say if you are a bit not sensational and you look from the lens of an investor looking inward? What would you say?
It depends, like you said, what lenses you're looking from. If you're looking from a seasoned investor, you find some traction in terms of the business climate in Africa, in Nigeria especially. You find some traction. At least now, the dollar is stabilizing. But there's still a lot of bottlenecks that need to be, they need to create more conditions of soft landing for investors in Nigeria. Other than that, from that lens, I could say that the investor is probably cashing out.
Investors are cashing out in Africa, and some would say that there are bottlenecks within governance that makes it even more difficult. There's the volatility of the African currency, especially against the dollar, which does not give investors the confidence necessary.
Well, as an African, like I said, when you look at it from another lens, that lens of putting your dollar down and trying to make all you can recoup, okay, you can say most of these mostly international investors that come into the country, they come, make their money and take their money out. But as a passionate and as a patriot, I always try to match the living conditions of the people from which you're tapping from, and compare it and do the contrast between them and the economy. I heard what you read out there, billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars that is supposed to reflect in the lives of people, but ordinarily is reflected in the pockets of the investor, not in the people. And that is where the problem lies. That is where I see the problem. There is this gap between those numbers and the living conditions of the African.
Right.
So that
is that what drives your interest in investing in the African continent? Is it emotions to ensure things are done right, or you see the potential? I mean, Africa is the next big thing in terms of potential for any industry. We have the numbers, but then after the numbers, what?
Exactly. After the numbers, what? who's going to do it for us? Who is going to do it for us? You find we live in the world of capitalism. Everybody is for their own. There is no benevolence. You're taught that in school. You're taught that you go in. It's your self-interest and your business interest that matters the most. So who is going to make sure that the jobs are there? Who is going to make sure that the pay you? Okay, now in Nigeria, the minimum wage is 70,000 I heard, and even companies are struggling to pay. Local companies are struggling. I have a friend in Lagos. He owns a hotel, and for him to meet up paying that 70,000, that means he has to raise the bill, room rates and all of that stuff. And when you raise the room rates, people are going to find other alternative. So you see, it's somewhat. But if I'm investing in an industry like people in the oil, you see Dangote is become more of a billionaire than he was before he started that refinery. In different sectors are different stories. So that if it does not, for me as a businessman, if it does not really reflect on the life of the people, then our job's not done.
Wow. That's quite interesting and also sad at the same time. What would you say are those sectors that has to be fixed, just so that, let's talk of local, let's talk of indigenous manufacturers and our indigenous businessmen within the country, for instance, before we go all African? What would you say the sectors that needs to be rejigged fast are to see that ripple effect in a boom that would further bring about all the time investor confidence, attract foreign direct investment? But let's see the boom within the country. What would you like to see done fast?
Straightforward, the agri sector. I can tell you right now, my company is making a major investment in that area. For example, Nigeria imports, we have a palm oil deficit. The demand for edible palm oil deficit at 450,000 metric tons. That means we import 450,000 metric tons of palm oil into the country, according to data. So why should we be importing palm oil with the arable land, with all the palm trees that is everywhere, with everything that's going on? It's because we are not committed to production, and that has been the problem of the country. Number two, how do you help to sustain the agro industry? The government have now formed the agri bank, which has not been funded. 1 naira is not inside there. The government, for me, they came up with a lot of great policies, and for a businessman, I was hoping that with the Southeast Development Commission, with all of that going on, the development commission that is supposed to stimulate business production, especially in that agri bank. When that policy came about, I was like, okay, now we can really address the key fundamental. If Nigeria can feed itself, those money can go back into those local farmers with de-urbanized production. Everybody doesn't have to come to Lagos or Abuja or Port Harcourt. Those farmers there can sustain themselves if we can give them the necessary assistance that they need to grow their products. So, but now I've made personal inquiries, and there's no money in the agri bank. So is it all about talk?
You're right. Is it all about talk?
It's all about
Especially
talk.
for a country at this moment that when you read the statistics as to where the purchasing power of an average Nigerian is, we're going further beyond the limit of what the United Nations will say poverty is. We're living below even what is prescribed. But my question now would be, in spite of this, we are seeing data that shows that we are rebounding. Where is this happening? Because the UNCTAD latest report on FDI They say the flows we are rebounding in that, but much is still concentrated in the extractive industry. So how do we less saturate just the extractive industry and see a kind of balance? Why should we always have this conversation where, oh, okay, there are countries that do not even have oil, and yet they do not even have natural resources, and yet they are doing well, and they have invested in sectors like hospitality and tourism. The world troops into those countries. Singapore, for instance, troops into those countries. They've invested in technology. The world goes there. They've invested in education. So they are rife in education tourism. Why must we be one-sided when it comes to where we can look towards revenue? Is it laziness?
I don't think Nigerians are lazy. Just the other day, I went for an event. Actually, what I'm wearing today, I went for an event, and this young man, he was just standing there with his tape. Right. As I came out, he's like, I can make you this clothes. I can make you this clothes. I really know what I'm doing, but I need money. I need your support. So these young people are moving from the comfort of their studios or whatever, and they're coming out to actually, look for clientele. That is an entrepreneurial spirit that is like no other, that you will not find anywhere else in the world. Like that hustling spirit. But everybody needs support. How are we supporting this young mind? Today, I'm wearing him. How are we supporting these young people? How are we helping? So until all of this data, I understand all of this data, extractive, clearly if London and France or whoever is making their money, the report for Nigeria they are going to balance our books and all of that stuff. I can understand that. But how is that affecting the life of the everyday man? Until we see a change in that, until we see that effect on the ground, then that's when we know that we are thriving. For now, the people are hungry. The government should go to the local communities and find out how they can stimulate those communities, because money is not free. Yes, the fuel subsidy that was removed has gotten more money into the hands of the government, and some are building roads, some are doing all kinds of stuff. But what are we doing in terms of stimulating production so that Nigerians can get to work? Our youth can be trained, skilled, given the right tools to produce. That is when you know that the economy is doing well. Not all this data. I'm no longer, as an investor, I want to key into those data and find out where my next dollar is going to come from. But as a patriot, as a Nigerian, I want to see much more done that will change the lives of the people. Put your money where the mouth is. Fund that agri bank is going to help the people. Fund a lot of the entertainment industry now. Same data is saying that about $19 billion was generated from the entertainment industry. Hey,
the fashion industry, $6.2
billion. So
and the question now is, now you don't even have to be emotional about, oh, this is my country, I want to fix things. You act, there is money right on the table. Why are we still not having that pool of investment? What's keeping investors such as yourself? You have done a great job in your investment in the entertainment industry, in agriculture, amongst others. However, I would expect that with the potentials in country, we should have a more vibrant, a more ready investors. Our president does not have to travel all over the world trying to once again attract foreign direct investment, and once again ensuring that the bottlenecks have been cut off. When you come in, you see it stay in your face. How can we see practical solutions to attracting investment in Africa?
I've been a proponent of the only option left for Africans, the only option left for Nigeria is really to stay within our means right now, because we are constantly playing to the gallery of the international community. What is that? Like foreign direct investment. Yes, you need the money. Yes, you need that to stimulate. But ultimately, if those policies that this president and administration, I've read their policies, if they are able to finance those policies, if they are giving the money that they are borrowing up and down, if they are able to go to the right source, do what it's supposed to do, fund that agric bank. I keep mentioning that, fund the agric bank. If the agric bank is funded, a lot of all these things, all those problems that we're talking about, is because it's going to stimulate production. How can a Nigeria that has the best of palm oil be importing 450,000 metric tons into the country? How is that thinkable? We are importing food that when we know we can grow food, we have the numbers, we have the population. If we feed ourselves and produce for ourselves, that money will circulate. So all of these macroeconomic policies, statistics and stuff, sincerely speaking, I understand, I read economics, but it does not suffice. It does not work for me anymore. We need to see that proper direct investment is going to the right people. De-urbanize production. Let the people in the communities help themselves. They have the energy. They are not lazy. There are fishermen that need the right tools to become better at what they do, and then distribute, and then we buy from them. There are other harvesters. There are people that work. There are people that till the ground. We need mechanized farming. We need the equipment. We need tractors. I keep hearing on the news how many thousand tractors have gone.
We've not even started using it. It's still where it was launched, and Nigerians are asking what's going on. Nigerian farmers need these tractors. When you read statistics, once again, you're talking 3 billion potential for just shea butter. $3 billion potential for just shea butter. This is if only capacities are built for some farmers, it's an untapped industry, and it goes on, and Nigeria is so blessed with these resources. Well, I don't want to sound despondent because I want to be hopeful. Are you seeing anything that gives you any sort of hope, especially in this administration? I mean, we talk the talk, but are we walking the walk?
I see, like I spoke about this, what is his name, this blueberry guy that made my coat. I see, when I see young people I was just in an Uber the other day, and this teacher, he was a teacher, he said he was being paid 100,000 because I engage people a lot, and he found out that it was not enough anymore, that 100,000 to support his family, his kids going to school. And then he just turned his car and left his passion, teaching, to driving Uber, and he says he's making ends meet today. So what do I see in this country that gives me hope? I see the tenacity. I see against all odds. It's unthinkable what people are going through, but against all odds, you see Nigerians coming up with ideas of how to make a living, make a nickel, keep pushing against all odds. Is it not time to support this drive, this entrepreneurial ability, ingenuity that is God-given, that you cannot find anywhere else? Africa is waiting on Nigeria to get it right. I was just in Liberia the other day with the president of Liberia. We went to consult. I spent about a week or so in Liberia. And Liberia has huge infrastructural deficit, and you cannot understand why a country of that size Yes, they have been through wars, but a country of that size, with all the mineral resources that is blessed with, has huge influence. I mean, the roads are terrible. And this is where Nigerians are supposed to be the big brothers of Africa. Go into Africa and invest our money, because if our country is okay, if we are okay, that's what the Americans do. America is okay. That's why you see Americans controlling the Mexican economy, controlling the Venezuelan economy, controlling the Cuban economy, because they have built their country.
Right.
So if Nigeria can get it right, West Africa is waiting on us, Africa is waiting on us. So my only, to answer your question, what gives me joy is that Nigerians are not sitting with their hands behind their backs. This youth that we've been talking about, they have devised new means of making their money in tech, even agro, everything tech. You see a young lady in their house making food, advertising it and delivering the food. You see a lot of delivery activities in terms of food and other things going on. So that gives me hope. That's the only thing that gives me hope, because our government have really, they've not been able to come to the table, really.
I mean, you have just mentioned something very important, but I would like us to tweak it now to intra-African trade.
Right.
I mean, we had the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, and when it was launched, we were excited. Now we could see that seamless trade within African countries, which would naturally boost economies without even going far. You have what I do not have, and so let's trade seamlessly. We don't need to depend on the dollar so much, because we are boosting the African. We have the numbers. We're in billions within Africa. What would you say? Where would you say we are in intra-continental trade? When you listen to the likes of Dangote, who tells you it's more difficult to travel within Africa than it is to travel outside the country. That's just the very first one, movement. If you make movement so difficult, thanks to Kenya, I think, that just recently made passport visas free free for all Africans who want to come. That I know would boost this movement of goods and services. But let's talk about intra-continental trade.
That's why I say the big giant that's sleeping needs to wake up. But a lot is happening. Like I said, I traveled to Kenya, to Liberia. I'm just coming back, and Sierra Leone. And it interests me to know that, Nigerian airline Air Peace, is connecting those dots, to Accra, to Monrovia, to Sierra Leone, and the same route back to Lagos. But those are the things. There are so many opportunities that we have. That only as God has given it to us in Nigeria, and we have to really own it, to go into Africa and not just become evangelists of economic expansion and connectivity. When they go to the UN or go to AU, I keep saying, I wonder what these presidents do. What are the deals? How do you lessen the bureaucracy? If I want to go and produce something now in Liberia, or if I have something I'm producing in Nigeria, what are those things that is stalling the business flow? Those are the things that government should be talking about, while the entrepreneurs will be talking about how to expand into Africa and do business with countries. Government should try. They should sit down and figure out what assistance can we give the Republic of Benin, what assistance can Benin give to Nigeria, what assistance can we give to Ghana to remove some of these bottlenecks that have been placed there that does not allow us to trade trade freely and successfully, because it's been put there not by our design, it's been put there by a design of those that depends on our minerals to maintain their own economy. So why are we not thinking for ourselves? I keep saying, if Africans, if we do not shape the games we play, we always play the games that we find. And we've been playing the games that we found. We've not been able to reconstitute a business environment that will allow us to free flow of trade. We just talk about them, but when you actually go into investment, you really find out the bureaucracies are not helping not helping it's very discouraging, and you have to stay in it because you're African. You want it done, and that's it.
I need you to clear something for me. It's a couple of weeks ago I listened to a crusader who was all about investing in a certain country across the world. He was talking about how stable the economy is, how businesses are done. I mean, this is a Nigerian, and it was a thing. He gathered people, potential African businessmen, and was telling them how they should invest in that country. And he's into real estate and some other businesses. I felt a certain way because I saw how the African businessmen and CEOs in that hall, their eyes lit up to the potential of how much they will make. You and I are talking here, we see the flaws in our country, we see the potential as well in our country. How do you feel also? Maybe I am wrong. I mean, maybe it's rich coming from me who is saying bring foreign investment, and when another country is saying come invest in my country, I feel a certain way. But how do you feel when Africans are beginning to say, you know what, let's leave Africa, it's too volatile here, let's go invest in other parts of the world?
What world is that? What world you're going to invest? Do you have the capital base to go and, well, some of us do. You can invest in the US. I'm sure there are certain things bilaterally that we have. If they stop extracting our raw materials, we need to shift from that mentality. And
of exporting
we export our blessing, and then they go back and creatively use those raw materials, expand them into different multiple products, and they ship back to us, and we are purchasing our raw materials. Like, it does not make any sense.
Right.
That is why I see when I hear politicians say, sorry, production is the key. We need to shift our mindset. First and foremost, shift our mindset into production, and that will come from the stable electricity. We've been talking about this since you were born. I am not a proponent of going to invest somewhere else. This is where everything that you are looking for there, everybody else is looking for what is here. So how do we access, how do we get the concession? How does government trust its people enough to say, okay, here, we'll support you in this department? Now Dangote is increasing his refinery to 1.4 million barrels a day. That is the biggest in the world. Whoever thought that? Whoever thought that was going to be possible?
From Nigeria.
From Nigeria, a man determined with the will and with all the support. So if you're supporting Dangote, support every other person, support the youth, support the
industries that need support.
They need the same level of support.
Again, we're going back to that conversation where concentration is always on the extractive industry. We're always on oil. So how can we move and shift this mindset?
Well, the mindset, whether the government likes it or not, have shifted. And unfortunately for them, it's like it's happening without them capturing it, without them being, they are not leading the foresight. Government have never been a foresight leader. The vision have always come from the people. But a good government, what they have always done is to, capture the industrial foresight that exists in their community, in their state, in their nation, and then convert it and support it and help it, then tax it. That's what government's role is. So when you are only focused in one direction, then every other thing is suffering. Like I will come back, I'm not so much willing to be engaging in conversations that help other economies right now. I'm more interested in the conversations that help us locally. And I'll come back to the fact that, government needs to support other areas of interest, which is agro, which is the entertainment, lifestyle, fashion. You just gave me a data of shea butter. Just something as simple as the cosmetic industry. Nigeria has a lot to do. What are those economies? Look at Scotland, all of those, Norway. Go and check. What is it they have? What do they have? They find one thing and they put all their resources and energy in it and build it into a hub, and that is what they are known for. And you find out that those economies are bigger than an economy. They're not supposed to be bigger than Liberia. Liberia has the highest volume of cotton now in West Africa. Cotton is in high demand. They have it. Liberia has the rubber. Liberia has timber. Liberia has diamonds. Liberia has gold. Liberia has all those things. Same as our country, Nigeria. We have it, but now it's now time we've been dilly-dallying about mining in this country. Dilly-dallying about mining.
Chief Ndodin, you have the opportunity to converse with presidents across the world. You were with the Liberian president just recently, and you talk about the potentials. What are those conversations you have that brings him back to base? Let's industrialize. Let's get serious. You just talked about how the deficit in infrastructure in the country. What did you say? Did you go there to Dobale?
No, that's I run a consultancy firm. It's called Southwest Consulting. So we are sort of now have the mandate to consult for the Liberian government to help this president. Fortunately for Liberia, they have in President Joseph Boaki, a man who wants to leave a legacy of putting the necessary infrastructure in place and development. He needs development partners, and our job is just to rally the troops and go in there and help him achieve what he wants to achieve. Once there is a will, they say there is always a way. And what we lack in this country, if I bring it back to Nigeria and most countries in Africa, is the political will to really just get down to work and get business done. And why I sound this way about Nigeria is what others are looking for. Nigeria has it. Nigeria has the hand. Nigeria has the mind. Nigeria has the spirit, the entrepreneurial spirit that works in all of us. Everybody, you're a school teacher, you come in front of their house, they have a little shop or whatever, selling something, selling puff, whatever you call it, just to make ends meet. So after they go to work, they have formal work, they come back, they do other things in order to sustain their families. I am telling you, those are the things that you don't find easily anywhere in the world. Why are we not, helping explode this and harness this entrepreneurial spirit that exists, that will enable even a young baba, even a young person, begin to move into Africa? Why can't they grow a chain? A barber in Abuja, for example, can if he's stable in Abuja, he can go and open a barber shop in Monrovia or in Freetown or in Accra, and that's how the chains grow.
Exactly.
You know, fashion houses grow that way. Everything grows that way.
Now,
So,
Chief Ndudim,
yes.
you run a big corporation, and a lot of other people like you are in the country. You people have money in this country. How are we helping small businesses in all aspects? We've mentioned several sectors that we need to help. How are we helping intentionally to know, you know what, I don't want to grow rich by myself. I want young people to grow as well. You just gave an example of the young man who made your outfit. In digital transformation as well, there are several potentials. What are big corporations such as the one you run do? What are they doing?
Well, what I'm doing, I think you know, my record is clear. I could go and open up farms in terms of agriculture. Like I told you, we've just done a major investment in the palm oil industry to see how we can cover that deficit. But the major investment, what we have identified is the production capacity in Nigeria is very low. So it's not
in
like,
spite of all the palm trees that I see
exactly.
I mean, I'm from Cross River State.
Exactly.
I mean, you drive for hours and
exactly
a plantation and
exactly. So now what we are doing, we are supplying them with hybrid seedlings, and you know, our business model is different, and the business model is to return money back to these local communities, because now they have to produce, they have to go and find a buyer, they have to come out in the expressway, you know, and put their at the end of the day, they might not be able to sell, and they carry it back there. So what we have done is we are going into the cities and we are buying their seedlings from them, you know, and then we are producing. Right. So we are returning money to where it matters, to encourage the local farmers to continue to farm. And this indirect approach, we've able to capture over 500 women all across the southern that we offtake from. You know, so we are reliable. They know we are coming at a certain day, so their job is to make it available. So you know, it's this kind of the indirect and direct investment that really make the difference. So that is why I'm saying, if this agri-bank can be funded and the local farmers can go and access these monies and it's done not wayo things, not corrupt, an intentional, transparent process that will allow people to go to this agri-bank and say, please, I need 100,000, however the process is worked out, so that they can bring back the money. What is this country where they had the Grameen Bank, Bangladesh? Right. One man, Yunus Mohammed, he transformed the entire, he made a women approach. He started lending money to women. He lost some of the money, but it was intentional. If you bring back this, I give you more. Right. If you bring back this, I give you more. If you bring back this, like that, he was able to, you know, identify who was serious in business and who was not serious in business. And for
empowering them.
I'm empowering the women. Like the Grameen Bank, you should go and read about them. That's they have the biggest loyalty that you can think of anywhere in the world. People go to Grameen Bank in Bangladesh not because they are your Citibank or whatever.
Because it's relatable.
So
what's happening to the Nigerian financial institutions? Because when we talk about investment, we talk about businesses, especially MSMEs. You point at the Nigerian banking. These are people who want more than one digit in interest on loans. They make it so tough.
and some of their excuses span from the informal sector often are not well structured, where you don't even know where these businesses are, and when you get to find the businesses, they are very mobile. You know, and you're afraid to lose money. But I get it. But how then can they enhance these businesses? Because these are people who still use your bank as mobile and as unstructured as it is. You enjoy their monies in your bank, but you don't give back. How can we hold our financial institutions?
That is what I keep saying to when I have conversations with some bank MDs and other people. I say, you know, if they need your money, they know how to go get your money.
Yeah, but
if you need their money, they kind of give all kinds of excuses. So if they really were intentional, and this is a challenge to the banks in Nigeria, if they are really intentional about helping to foster development and production and all of that in this country, helping to change life, transformation in all sectors, the banks in Nigeria, they have the numbers to do that. So when Osibanjo, the former vice president, I think they started a program, some monies that I've forgotten what they call that money.
Market money.
Yeah, something money, you know.
Right.
If that thing was not politicized, I think that thing could have helped, you know, change the direction of this country. Because, you know, I tried to investigate that. You can be given 10,000 naira, and when you bring back, it's more like this Grameen model.
That was not the initiative.
Yeah.
That initiative was a bit more. Forget the political part of it. I criticized the initiative because it was like take one, take all. There was no accountability whatsoever. Nobody was supposed to bring back anything, and so you can't even track who got what, the impact of what that person got, the sustainability of the entire initiative. How can you pull that kind of funds to do it again? I expected that if you want to, like you just mentioned, your
Grameen Bank. Yeah,
that's a good initiative, and you can already tell the sustainability of it. Now, it wasn't the case in the market. I think it was market money, trader money.
That's what it's called.
It wasn't like that.
Yes.
There were videos of him getting into a market and say, you take this, you take this. It was like an opera show. You get one, everybody get one.
Yeah.
You know, from an economic point of view, I didn't see that sustainable. I didn't see the transparency and accountability and the tracking that will make it sustainable. I think some Nigerians would definitely take advantage of it, but it did not pin and specify this individual wants to invest in this for data's sake, even if for nothing else. This individual wants to invest in palm fruit. The value chain is unthinkable. I may just be the transporting person. I connect the farmers to off-takers like yourself, and please enhance my business in that regard. You just give me money. Everybody just got one. Some people were going to beer parlors after that, and they bragged about it on the internet. We saw all of that. So I had a problem with that initiative, but I see where you're going. It could have been a Grameen Bank of some sort.
A government-funded, because clearly the private sector banks in Nigeria are not coming to the table. Why I cited that is that there is a data and there is a program that, because I went to their data center, they were able to capture data, but like I said, it was politicized because the data that they use that for is for the politics. It's for the politics.
Well, by the way, that shouldn't necessarily be a bad thing if it is true data.
Well, it is. There is data. I know there is data.
Yeah, I mean, politicize it all you want, but do the right thing and improve living standards. Politicize it all you want.
Yeah.
It's your bragging rights.
Well, but it's not intended. Okay, this is my argument. This is where it falls short.
Right.
You know, political parties in this country, for example, I don't know why we have come to a place where we cannot separate. Like in America, they say separate the church from the state.
Right.
Separate this from that. You know, you play all the politics. It's not you against them.
Right.
And that is why everything is stalling in Nigeria. It seems like it's the government, is the elite versus everyone else. So if you don't agree with our policies, then we can support you.
Unfortunately,
you know,
it has also really affected the receptivity of initiatives that I can sometimes see and say, this is a good one, why are you not embracing it? But because people have this stereotype or preconceived notion of the intent. Where are you coming from with this? What do you hope to achieve? Is this for the next cycle of elections and all of that? But Charles Ndudim, we have really gone way overshot our time. Time flies when we are having a good time. Thank you so much for being part of the show.
Thank you so much
for young
for
people
having
listening
me.
to you, for potential businessmen, for big businessmen like yourself who are wondering whether or not to invest in our country, in our continent, what's your last thoughts on the matter?
Okay, I'm going to look to you guys and say, for that young man that made me this beautiful, you are the reason why I outfit. You are the reason why I believe so much in this country. I believe so much in our ability to harness new opportunities and businesses. For that guy in the studio preparing your next hit, now engage in YouTube and everybody getting your direct payment, you are the reason why I have hope in this country. For that farmer, that woman that continues to go to farm amidst all the insecurities and stuff to make sure that they bring back food to their children, you are the reason why I believe in this country. And I'm encouraging everyone. It's not Uhuru yet. You know, we still have a lot of things to do, and I'm saying to government, it's time to be intentional, Don't do it because you want them to register in APC or PDP or ADC or whatever. Do it because you are changing the lives of people. These are people, but we are not labeled by the political party that we belong to. Do it because you want to change people's life. And naturally, if my life is changed by you, what will you do that I will not support? So I am asking everybody, let us do this as a collaboration. You know, government do their part. The entrepreneurs already doing your part. Just keep on, have that spirit going. We didn't become big overnight. We rose from the ranks as well. So I'm encouraging, I'm rooting for the youth of this country. I'm really rooting for the youth of this country. Keep doing what you're doing. One day, a lover of your efforts will show up, and you know, you will emerge greater than we ever did it.
That's just, you know, characterizes it all. Thank you so much for your insight, Chief Charles Ndudim. Thank you for your contributions to the conversation. I mean, it's obvious that Africa's growth story depends on intentional policies just like this, smart financing and bold leadership. And conversations like this, of course, also help to shape the path forward. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Joy. Thank you for having me.
This is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of Aso Morning. Rest assured, we'll be back next time with so much more. Have yourself a wonderful morning.